All right, guys, I'm so thankful that you're here tonight and making this a priority. I know everybody is super, super busy, so it means the world that we come in community. I am realizing more and more and more how much I'm craving community right now. And it's been just really hard. I don't know. It's been hard. I feel like out of all this time, so it's been since March, that all of a sudden this week it's pretty heavy. And maybe that's because I'm about to be with everybody for a convention or at least a huddle of people. Maybe I'm just excited about that and I'm feeling the need for that gathering. Maybe that's what it is. But I'm thankful that I get to see your faces tonight. So we're going to move quickly because I know everybody's had a super long day with friends, family, outings, trainings, girls' night outs, and you might even need to eat some dinner. So we're going to move. First thing that I wanted to ask you guys is, I was just talking about this. Convention is this weekend. Virtual convention, first one ever. And there are times where I'm like, what is this going to be like? And how are they going to make it like where we feel like we're all together? But then I think, of course we will. It's Plexus. Like Plexus always goes over the top. They always feel like that we're in community. They always make it fun. And I feel like that they're going to just have some things up their sleeves because 2020 is special. And 2020 vision for this convention was already a really big deal. The reason that they named it the way that they did and the keynote speakers that we were going to listen to was already special in the planning. And then to have everything that's happened this year happen, I think that it's going to be even more. So be ready, be prepared. But this is what I want you to do. I want you to put into the comments what, first of all, I want to know how you're gathering. Are you gathering with other people? Are you doing a watch party? Are you watching it on your own? If you're gathering, put what state that you're gathering in. But then I also want to hear from you guys that have been to convention, because we have several people that have never been yet. But if you have been to convention, I want to hear one of your greatest convention memories. So put that into the chat for me super quick. And I have shared several times with you guys before, like I still remember my very first convention. So I started in the last week of August of 2013, and my first convention was in June of 14. And I still questioned network marketing. I'd been part of one prior to, and it did not go well. And I just was like, are y'all lying to us? Is it really as big as you act like it is? I mean, I was just super skeptical. And then I went to convention. And the crazy thing for me was the people that were there, that I just respected their character and who they were, and getting to see our executives on stage in their hearts, to hear the prayers that were happening, to hear people talking about God the way that they did, and realizing that their whole life was a missional life. I just remember I kept texting my husband through the whole thing going, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. This is so cool. So I was like, it's the real deal. And I got so excited, and I wanted to be a part of that. And I wanted to rub elbows with some of the people that I was hearing from and hearing their hearts. And so that was super cool. So I love hearing the heart of the leaders. Absolutely, Megan. That's such a big deal. Mama Dawn is flying to Kansas. That's going to be so much fun. Where else? First convention for Lauren. I'm so pumped for her. It's going to be her and her son. That's so cute. It's going to be awesome. He's going to be running around chasing the dog while you're watching. Let's see. I'll be watching from home. That's Bree. Headed to Dory's. Y'all, it's going to be so much fun at Dory's. I'm going to be in Kansas myself, so it's going to be a lot of fun. So we have some little pockets of things going on. So let me just share with you tonight. I asked 2 people to share tonight, and I'm really excited about what they're going to be sharing on. The first one is Bree. Some of you guys know Bree, and you know her story, and she's going to share a little piece of that tonight. But she has started this business from a place of intentionality that is impacting lives in ways that are noticeable. Like I am watching from afar and watching how she has adjusted some things in her personal life, in her business world, the way that she views things, and it's making a really big impact. And I just started asking her, like I do so many people, because I'm still a learner. I will be diamond one day, and I will still be learning and saying, teach me, teach me. And I did that with Bree. And so I've asked her to come and share a little bit with you about her intentionality and what did change for her. And then she's going to give us some tips, and she's going to share some things with you that I think are going to benefit your business as well. So Bree, I'm going to hand it over to you, girl.
All right, thank you. It's such an honor to get to share with you guys because I mean, you guys are all such amazing leaders. But big things have changed in my life and in my business, like Melissa has said. So I wanted to share that. So I shared Plexus for a couple years, and my big thing was I got healthy. It was easy to share my testimony, and I wanted to earn things. If I'm really going to be honest, I wanted an iPad. I never had an iPad before. I wanted to take my husband to the Bahamas, for goodness sake. So that's what I did. So that was exciting. And those were wonderful blessings by Plexus. But my retention was awful. It was awful. I could recruit all day long. I mean, because I can talk about Plexus, it's my passion. I believe in it. But I cannot retain anyone the way I was working my business before. So, sorry, you can probably hear my Hendrix over here. He's like, Mom, why are you talking and not coming to me? So, yes. So he will be okay, I think. If he gets wilder, though, I will go get him out of his walker. So this time around, I really just had a change of heart completely. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to pause. Hold on just a second. I'm going to get up and run.
This is real world right here. This is mom life and doing business in the midst. All right. Hey, look at those eyes. He's like, what are you doing?
Wow. So this is baby Hendrix. He doesn't know how to wave yet, but he's just starting to do this a little bit. He's 7 months old, but he looks like he's like a year or so. So I have big bam bam boys. All right. So let's talk about how my heart changed. So for almost a year, I didn't really share out. I still had my business. I still had some customers. I still had a handful of ambassadors that was ordering, but just because they saw personal success, it was nothing I was doing. It was just the product. So my business was bad. My retention was awful. So I just quit, and it got easy not to share anymore. Because once you don't have to take that time to share with people, it's easy not to. But I really just started feeling bad about it because we have something that's impacting lives. And I felt terrible for not sharing what God has revealed to me. So I just changed. I changed it up. So I really just got in my heart what I needed to be doing, what I was created to do. And I mean, this little fellow was created with these products. So, I mean, our lives have been forever changed because of Plexus. I had an autoimmune disease that was absolutely terrible. I had debilitating fatigue, terrible joint pain. I would be limping on the way home from school when I was a teacher. Well, now I'm the librarian, but when I was teaching in a classroom setting, it was just awful. So Plexus has changed our lives. So I really just had a heart-to-heart with God and just realized I'm not where I should be. And that was like May 11th. May 11th, it was like, okay, I'm going to do this. So I've really changed my business side and how I am loving on my people. So I have a few tips for you guys that has been brand new to me. And it's only been a month. but it has completely transformed my business and my heart and my outlook for where this could go and the number of lives that could be impacted. So number one, love your people. Like, that's my huge deal. You might be saying, I like my people, they're my friends, they're my family. But you have to love on them and support them every step of the way, because I wasn't doing that before. I'd be like, hey, how's it going? How's your products? What do you want next time? I wasn't really taking them step by step and holding their hand like I have been now. So, and I'll show you kind of how I do that. But just think about how much better their journey is going to be if they can trust you and they know that you're going to be there for them. So that's my number one tip. Number two, actual conversations. Like, it's so easy just to send messages, just sending out messages. And even when people are excited, like, I'm not even just talking about cold messaging, but you could be in a conversation with someone in a message and completely miss out on something super important that could come through a voice conversation. So I've had 17 voice conversations now in the last month. Well, and 10 of them were last week. But that's completely transformed everything. Because honestly, I feel like I would have been suggesting the wrong products to people if I had not gotten to visit with them. Like I shared in our accountability, I seriously had two. One did not even think to tell me that she had rheumatoid arthritis until we were down to the picking out our welcome pack. Because I would never have thought to say ease to this young lady that had never mentioned joint pain. You know, I'd ask for health issues, but never even thought about it. Well, and then another one, we were already through the process and she had picked out her triplex, and then she said, oh yeah, by the way, I have diabetes. Do you have anything for that? So, and of course I couldn't say, you know, we can cure diabetes and, you know, stuff like that. But, so we got her some balance to try to help with that. So I would say definitely phone, talking on the phone, or even I was calling through Messenger, the little call button on Facebook Messenger, and that was the best thing ever. So that's what I did, and that's really helped me grow. So I asked Melissa to be able to share, because my third tip is having a system in place. If you're reaching out, you are going to have so many messages, and the important ones where you've made connections are just going to get buried under. And I think that's what happened to me before in my business, because I would seriously forget. When you're reaching out to so many people, you know, you forget, or you're like, oh my gosh, that was like 2 weeks ago when I was talking to them. So you're so right, Melissa. It's like everything. So I want to share with you guys what I have done. It saved my life with time management, which is kind of like what Roz was talking about on her new ambassador training the other day, and just keeping it straight on who I've talked to. That way I know that I have talked to every single person about PV, or what Plexus Perk means, or, you know, and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen if I can do that. All right, so this is, can you see that? All right, so this is just a Google spreadsheet, and this is for all my new people since May that have joined. I reworked this a few different times, but this is what has really saved my life. So you go through, so you just list your people. I put down when they joined. That way I'll know exactly when their subscription will be coming up to. But like every day, almost every day this first week, I reach out to them. So they joined. I ask them to join our Facebook pages. I welcome them on there. I have a starting Plexus. I have this too. I'll go ahead and bring it up. So this is time management, and it goes along with it. I just created a Word document with generic messages that I start out with, and then I get personalized as I go. But hey, there's my first one. It's my join message. So I copy it and I send it to my person after I'm off the phone with them. And then day 2, Facebook. I created this little picture, this little graphic.
Hey, Bree, we can't see whatever you're talking about right now.
Shoot.
You might have to get rid of one and bring up.
Oh, okay. So I guess let me talk about this one first, and then I'll stop share and show you. So for each column, I just put the date that I had that conversation with them. And starting Plexus, that's like how to ease into the products and the detox process. And then I send them the link for our product schedule. I let them know they'll be getting free samples to share to kind of get that seed in their minds. And then I ask them when I can call them to teach them how to use their virtual office. Then I didn't have take pics in here until we mentioned it in Roz's thing, so I sent that to everyone yesterday. So I also have, when you scroll on over, I just have little times to check in with them. And then in blue over here, I have when their subscription should be going through. That way I'll make sure I did all of these things before their next order goes through. So that's reaching out to them like 20 times before their next order goes through. So besides being able to keep track what I've talked about and what we've covered and how much I've supported them, I have the document that goes with these. So let me stop share and try it again. Sorry, here it is. All right, so here's the document that goes with it. So every column had its own little title. So, and then here are the generic messages. You see those now, right? Okay. So I have my join message, my asking if they want to do Facebook message, my little starting Plexus graphic on how to ease into it, my link of suggested schedules, their free samples. So anything that you saw on that slide or on the sheet, I also have just kind of a generic message on, because so many times people say, well, what's PV? Well, I can just come and copy this PV message and send it on, and like what Plexus Perks is and stuff like that. So this has really saved me because, I mean, I need something to help me keep track of if I've reached out to them, if I've taught them about this, if I've supported them this way, and that way I'm not having to type out the exact same message 19 times because these people joined about the same time. They should be learning about it about the same time. So that might be a lot. I'm not sure. But yeah, I can totally share this. A couple reached out the other day, so I shared with them. But I love it because I cannot stand the feeling of people losing people and not knowing why, or not understanding what went wrong. You know, so I'm getting to know my people on a personal level. We're building those relationships as these messages go through. So that way they know that I'm there for them every step of the way. I'm not just making a sell and then not checking back in. So I feel like it's really been supportive, and it makes my heart feel good to know that I'm there for my people and teaching them what I should be. So anyway, so that's what I have for you guys.
That's amazing. Okay, guys, so I hope that y'all heard what she said. Call, have a conversation with them. That's a really, really big deal. Get organized. Well, first is love your people well. And I want to say a couple of things to that, because a year ago, I think Bree would have said, well, I love people, or I love people well. But she realized, her words, not mine, but she realized she was more self-focused than servant-focused. And and those are my words, I shouldn't say that those are her words, but as she spoke about that, she was internally focused of what can I win and what can I do, versus now she's a servant focused person. And I love even hearing her say that her organization is because she got organized because she became purposeful. And she became purposeful because she said, like, I can't stand the thought of, number one, why did they leave? Number two, did I give them everything that I could to make them successful? Like, at the end of the day, we're going to have people leave. We know that to the best of all of our ability, on average, it's 85% retention. And that's at our very best. But whenever we put our heads down on our pillows at night, we can say, I worked unto the Lord, like I gave it my all. I did my very best. And if they leave, they leave, because that's going to happen naturally. But it's not because I did not do everything to love them well and to help them be successful. So I think that those things are key of hearing what she is saying, because I think a lot of times we say, well, I love well. It's like, but do you? But do you? And then the organization that she talked about, that comes when you come to a realization of a conviction of your why, your purpose, the gratitude that you have of what's happened in your life and wanting other people to experience it. That's when we really get legit and organized and say, like, this is what I'm called to do right now. So those things were really key. A couple of things. I love her system, but I also want you to hear, just like I talked about last week, of your creativity. We gave you a skeleton view. We gave you an infrastructure, but then we also said, hey, God created you with personality and giftedness and character, and like, you be you in the midst of that, right? Of doing like girls' night outs and wellness events. It's the same thing with this. There are some people that love spreadsheets. We use Dough, so you might be an app girl that you want to put everything into Dough and you can do it anywhere. And other people are literally pen to paper. So don't be like, oh my goodness, a spreadsheet and that's how she's successful and I hate spreadsheets and I don't know Excel. No, don't go there. The purpose of that is, number one, have a system, period. Systems are duplicatable. No system is very much not duplicatable, and you can't teach that from a success standpoint if you want longevity. So have a system and do it your best way. We have several things on Passionate Pursuit, on onboarding systems, you know, the 3, 7, 14, 21, 28 system. What you saw Bree is she does a little bit of something every single day that works for her. So find what works for you, but build a system that works for you. So those things are really, really big. And then yes, we'll definitely get that on Passionate Pursuit so that you can see a formatted Excel spreadsheet and even her messages. We'll put that into a unit for you so that you can go to that unit. So thank you. Thank you. I love your heart. I love your integrity and your honesty as well. So that's a big deal. All right, so now we're going to hear from Megan. And last week, the last couple of weeks, we've talked about Girls' Night Out wellness events. We did them last month, and then we had new ideas for June, and we've been doing them in June, and they've been fun. And Lauren had one tonight, a Girls' Night Out. Stacy and her team had one tonight. I'm sure that some of you other ones did, so I'm super impressed that you're on back to back. But it's been a fun month. It's an epic month, and I'm just proud of you guys for the work that you're doing. But Megan and her team have kind of taken the spin for themselves, and I wanted her to share her success of their format and the fun of it, and hear the personality of what they do with their events. And so I'm going to hand it over to Megan, and she's going to share some of that and some of her tips with you.
Thank you. So real quickly, just on the topic of systems before I move on to parties. So like Melissa said, some are app people, some are spreadsheet, and Deanna and Jessica and I we're still figuring out, but we tend to be a pen to paper sort of people. So another idea, okay, is what we're using in our systems right now is an onboarding new ambassador checklist. And we kind of came up with like the most important things, and then we included a place for dates. So I've printed these out. You know, some people might not have a printer, you know, so they might have to do something different, but you find what works for you. And then if it's not working, you change it up. Don't be afraid to try something new. I've been doing this for 4 years and I'm still trying to figure it out, you know, like what's best for me in this season of life. So right now I'm using this checklist and it's super helpful. And we're happy to share that. It's by no means, you know, complete, but it's a start so that no one's falling through the cracks, especially those first 30 days, right? And beyond. So I love Breeze. I was like taking pictures of that because that was so cool. I loved all those information that people need. So yes, one of my tips. Okay. So like I said, I started 4 years ago this month, and I've been all in since day one, since before I got the products, but I feel like my heart and my mind and my actions are really starting to line up. And then the Lord has brought runners to my team too, which really excites my heart, because then you're like, it's all worth it. And I don't have to do this alone. You know, like we're never alone. We have one another, we have our team, but just if you're not there yet and you don't see the fruit of your labor in the form of runners, don't give up, don't quit, because they're coming to you and they're going to be the right people for your team. Okay. For you. So I would say that over time, my mindset has shifted just a little bit. And one of those things has been leaders aren't avoiders. So don't avoid the hard things. I have to tell myself that almost every day when I want to just like avoid like the hard questions, or avoid following up with someone, or what if this, what if that, you know, that red light story wants to play in our brain. So don't avoid, just keep showing up for you, keep showing up for your people, and keep showing up for your future, because it's going to be worth it. It will. I believe it 100%. So the Lord, you know, brought Deanna to my team early on, like the first month in, and Jessica here recently. Well, the three of us attended Bible school together. And so it's really fun to do the business together. We're learning where one has a weakness, one has a strength, and we're playing off our strengths. So that's really great too. But how do we know what each other's strengths are unless we communicate? So we try to hop on a Zoom together, or even like a Facebook message video thing, like once a week. We try just to connect. How are you doing? Where are you at, you know, in your goals? And also, okay, so what are we going to do for our people? How are we going to really bank on this momentum? There's momentum happening like I've never seen in my 4 years. It's pretty amazing. And I know you guys are feeling that. So one of the ways we're like, we want to do these girls' night out, but you know, we kind of cringed at the name of it, because we're not like, hey, let's have a party, you know, like we're just like, let's try to make this our own. Like we're going to try to do it a little bit different and manageable, because we're all mamas, homeschool mamas with kids everywhere. Okay. And so we're like, what can we do that's you know, sustainable, but still effective. So for us thinking, I love that flexibility of doing pop-up parties throughout the week. That's just not sustainable for us right now. So we are doing a Celebrate One every Sunday evening for the month of June, and then we'll carry it on in the summer. We may even add a midweek one, just seeing where the need is at, because I believe the more you have, the better, right? I really believe it, because then you can reach more people. But right now, our Celebrate One is going along with our tagline in Legacy Builders, which is Andrea Studd's team page, and we're all, you know, contributing there. We have a Just One campaign, and our Just One campaign is really, you know, focusing on just adding one people, celebrating that one life change, celebrating that one family blessed, celebrating that one accountability partner, and then we're inviting those who we just recently added to our team to a celebration. We're going to celebrate them in their journey. We're going to celebrate them making a choice to invest in their health. And hey, why don't you invite a few friends to come celebrate you? So we call it Celebrate One. And Jessica's crazy, but she wore like a party hat and had like a party blower in the car. She's hilarious. And she doesn't care how crazy she gets. I think that when we throw that, you know, welcome to our call, you know, out the window and just have fun, you know, people just feel at ease. So we actually did our Celebrate One in a group setting, a private group, versus a Zoom call. I know that there's benefits in Zoom and there's benefits in groups. So you just kind of got to play around, maybe try both of them and see, you know, which one flows better for you and your people. But we started the group. So we created the group Sunday afternoon. as we were talking to people Saturday, talking to people Sunday, the first post that we shared was a welcome. We're so excited you're here. We start in 15 minutes. And that was at 7:45 p.m. last Sunday. Then at 8 p.m., Jessica went live from her car because that's where she gets cell reception. And she was all silly and crazy. And she had some radio music on. And she's like, this is so exciting. Come on in, let's hang out. We can't wait to celebrate you. And she did that for a few minutes while people popped on. I think there was like 12 people watching by the time she was like ready to talk. And she encouraged people to win a door prize to share their name. To share where they're from, who invited them. So the name of the new ambassador, basically, who invited them, and where they would want to travel if they could travel anywhere in the world after this quarantine thing is completely over. So we were able to see a little bit about them, about their personality, but also we could see which ambassadors had guests at the group, right? So then she shared her short testimony during that live while people were responding. And then she said, make sure to refresh your page because there's an amazing testimony my friend Deanna has to share with you. It's going to be really encouraging. So then she shut her live down and then refresh, Deanna went live. She shared her testimony. And she did a great job. She says, lives aren't my thing. And I was so nervous. And I was like, you rocked it, So I'm so proud of her for getting out of her comfort zone and doing something scary that was a blessing. It really was. So then Deanna said, make sure to refresh your page and don't miss out on the game we're going to play next. So after that live, it was the second live, Jessica posted a game. So it wasn't a live. It was a post on your health needs, specifically gut health. Are you, gut, when it comes to gut health, there's a lot of issues that might stem from, needing some help. Are you 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through 9 or 10? And then they would say, yeah, I need 1, 5, and 7, like less anxiety, better sleep, better mood. So then we were able to see our guests' needs, and then to find a winner at the end, I think we added up the numbers that they shared and like the highest number won. Like we did not tell them that. We just chose a winner at the end. So that was a great game to kind of give us insight to their needs. And then I gave it about 5 minutes and I went live and shared a testimony. And had some help with that in the form of a crying baby. So mom life again, but that's the joy. People can see that we're not perfect, that life happens, but we're showing up anyways for them because it really is important to us. So I think that speaks volumes. And then after I was done, I said, please refresh your page for our last game. Okay. So people are staying engaged. Like it was like this, go, go, go. It was not like, okay, we'll just wait a few minutes. The whole party took 30, 35 minutes. It was really quick. Then Jessica got on and she shared the purse game. And her twist on it was, you're going to find an item in your purse, or she said merce. If you're a man, I guess it's a man purse. I just cracked up at that. I'd never heard merce before. I was like, please don't say that again. Sounds like MRSA. Don't say that. She's like, or wallet or backpack, she's like, grab something near you. I don't think there are any guys on, but she said, now find something that starts with this letter, put it in the comments. So she said, find something that starts with the letter B. B stands for blessing. You are a blessing. You are important. And it also stands for beautiful. And you're beautiful just the way you are. You don't have to lose weight. You don't have to, you're not here to please anybody. Like this is just who you are is enough. And she poured all of this life-giving words, and I was receiving it. I was like, yes, thank you, And I had a guest show up, and at the end of it all, she said, when that girl talked about the letter B, I had tears in my eyes because I was having a really hard day. And I was like, thank you, Jessica, for just following the Lord's guidance and just, blessing us. So then she said, okay, find something that starts with the letter M. M stands for microbiome. What is a microbiome? I never knew what that word was. And so she had some little cards, I guess, or words on a piece of paper, and she just spit out the information about microbiome, what it was, how important it was. And then E stood for enemies of health, of gut health. Antibiotics and stress and toxins in our environment, lack of sleep. So she's teaching the audience while she's sharing this game, and they're engaged. They're like putting all their little words in there. And finally she got to T for triplex, and she was sharing about the triplex. And also she said tailor-made. We have other combos that are tailor-made to fit your needs. And then she said S for special discount. This month there's an amazing special discount. This is what it is. So she's just sharing, you know. And then she talked about the rewards we can get through Plexus Perks. She talked about Just One for the accountability and the support. And then she ended with an extra credit letter, extraordinary. So we found out who had the most, and we added up the points. That's how we found the winner. But I loved how she combined the game with education. We did not share a welcome packs. We didn't say, here's this to fix this and this to fix this. We didn't really make space for that. That could be something that we change up. But we ended with a post that said, thank you so much for joining us. And then the three of us each found a winner of the games, you know, a game each. And then I posted it in the winners are post. And then we did an extra winner at the end I drew from the ambassadors who brought guests to the call. And it was a surprise bonus gift. No one knew about it. And one of my new level 2s won. And she was like, I never win anything. This is awesome. Like, she was so encouraged. And I was just happy for her. I think sometimes we just need that little bit of encouragement. Like, you're in the right place at the right time and you matter and your efforts are worthwhile. So all in all, we had one person sign that night and one person sign the next day from the party. And a few more people are just thinking about it. We're in good conversation. So we feel like it was a good first trial. We're like, if nothing happens, that's okay. At least we'll get our feet wet. And so one of my tips tonight was, don't be afraid to try something new, but stick to the tried and true systems because they work. So don't get so like, I got to do my own thing over here because, you know, that sounds boring. Those systems don't sound like fun. We can have fun and we can try new methods to connect with people, but we also need to hold on to those systems because that's our foundation. I love how Melissa shares that, like, we're building a home, right? And so our foundation has to be solid so that we can build a long lasting home, not one that's going to crumble when life shakes us up a bit. Okay. Another tip I want to share is leaning on your team's strengths. And how will you know those strengths unless you're building a relationship intentionally, getting to know one another? And Deanna lives in Nebraska and Jessica lives in Mississippi and I'm in Texas, but we can still connect intentionally, you know? So I'm excited about that. And also my last tip would be learn to make space for rest. And when you're exhausted and you're tired or because it takes a lot of energy. For me, it takes a lot of emotions and mind energy to have those conversations with potentials and build those relationships with my ambassadors. I love it, but it drains me. It does. I mean, over a long period of time. And so make space for rest and don't quit, just take a rest. And not like a week off. Like I'm talking about, like, take that Sabbath rest, take that afternoon with your family, go to the zoo and have fun with your kids and don't look at your phone. People will survive for 4 hours without you answering their questions. And I'm learning that too. It's hard. It's hard to balance like my love and passion for this business and my love and passion for my family and making space for both and making them not always like this because my family feels the effects and my team doesn't get, and my prospects don't get the most from me when it's all jumbled up. So I'm definitely a work in progress, but those are my tips. So thanks for listening.
So good. Both of you guys, I could sit here and just listen to forever. Bree and Megan, thank you so much. Great information. I don't know if you guys have any questions for either one of them because we're going to open it up for questions and we'll definitely get that information to you guys so that you can kind of see the format of what she was talking about and her systems that she talked about. We'll get that page on Passionate Pursuit so that you can see that as well. But I do have a question. I know that we've had a lot of girls' night out lately and Stacy's on here. I know her video's not on, but hopefully she can hear me. But I would love to hear from some of you guys that have done events, whether it's Celebrate One, Girls' Night Out, wellness events, so just an event where you're inviting. What tips do any of you have in regards to making sure that your guests are on the event and that you see them fully engaged? I will say that Stacy's team had an event tonight and I jumped over there. I had an event tonight. So literally I was jumping back and forth trying to cheer them on and then do mine over here with Lauren. and they had a lot of engagement, which was super cool. We just heard from Megan. It sounds like that you had a lot of engagement, and I know that it goes back and forth, but I feel like that some of you here, and I know in my accountability group, some of you guys are on here as well, but would love to hear, because some people would really like to have a little bit more engagement. So does anybody have tips towards that that would be beneficial? Stacy, tell me about you guys. Y'all had like really great, it was really fun. I was like, oh my goodness, that's so cool.
I think that some of the definite like things that we did were, first of all, you always want to tag people in different posts. I know we had a few people who had trouble seeing and weren't sure how to refresh, because we did a Facebook one tonight. We didn't do a Zoom one. Oops, sorry, my phone's dying. Hopefully it survives. And I think, we did kind of like the half an hour until we start, the 15-minute reminders, just those little things help a lot. Not right now, guys. I have kids trying to break in my room. Sorry, it's been a long night. I'm super distracted right now. And let me see, what's some other things that really helped? I think we just had a game plan to start with. We had, hold on one second.
Y'all, so much fun. I love, love, love.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's so awesome.
Mom life. They're supposed to be in bed. Okay. So yeah, a lot of the reminders and just tagging people and reminding them, even your own people, 15 minutes before, beyond just making posts that say, we're coming on in 15 minutes. So we were just very intentional about re-tagging people, not in an annoying way, but just, hey, this is happening. We hope you can come. And we did actual lives. We did the games as part of our lives, not as a separate post, because sometimes there's like 20,000 posts. It's hard to keep track and refresh it and so forth. So we kind of tried to make it more concise, and it was kind of fun. As someone who's giving a live video, it was like a little intimidating to be like just having a radio silence while people are commenting, because sometimes it takes a while to catch up on lives. But it was really helpful, and it brought a lot of engagement because people were, of course, wanting prizes and knowing they had a comment, and that was just all really helpful. And we just try to make it fun but exciting, and just kind of rolled through, and didn't have much pause between our different live videos. We only gave about 2 or 3 minutes between popping back on. So we try to make it quick for people and not tie up their whole night, but just really try to engage and work with our three-way conversations right afterwards. So hope I made sense.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think it's great. And I think that the more energy you have, like whenever you move it quickly, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I know for all the ones I've been on, all the ones that I have participated in over the last couple of weeks, it's super fun to banter back and forth too, because I think it lets our guests just see the community and the love for each other and the fun. I know we had fun tonight. We were kind of goofy tonight. But I think that that's super cool. So Megan, you guys are going to do it. I want to make sure on your systems, y'all are going to do it every Sunday night, correct? So you're building on Sunday nights. Okay. Mm-hmm. Does anybody else have questions? Any thoughts, ideas? Yes, Bree.
I'm really excited to hear about the Facebook Lives too, because I've done 2 girls' night out, and they haven't been super successful. Z, can you turn that off, please? Sorry, my kiddos are back. The big kids are back in. So, I mean, they've been successful, I guess. I've had two attendees each time. So that's been kind of a struggle, and it's kind of frustrating because, you invite 50 people and 17 say that they're coming, and you're all excited and sending them updates and tonight's the night, and you're all happy, and then 2. It's like, okay, well, I thought you were all excited, but I have had a person join after each one. So, I mean, they've been successful. I guess they have been intimate, so we can really talk everything out while we're in there. So we kind of just talked it out while we were there, the three of us, instead of having the after party. And they were cool with it because they knew each other. So, and we had I can also share the graphics that we used, because I remember with our mock girls' night out, you had the graphic, Melissa, that was like what you struggle with. So I created this little graphic. And then they write down the numbers, and they kind of go along with all of our welcome packs too. So I just looked at a welcome pack and I wrote down the things that they would struggle with. So if you guys want that too, I can share that too. But that was kind of cool. But I want to try Facebook, a Facebook party, because many people, I check back in with them. I'm like, well, I'm sorry you didn't get to make it. Would you like to get together sometime and we can discuss this? Or would you like to see a video on, so I'm doing asks, even if they didn't get to come. But many of them were like, well, I couldn't figure out how to work Zoom, or I didn't have Zoom downloaded. So I think a lot of my people are familiar with Facebook, but maybe not familiar with Zoom. So I'm going to try it on that format just to see if my attendance changes.
Yeah, it's super fun to do it that way, because you can also keep it up for 24, 48 hours or even a week, and they can come back in. I know we had one last night, and during the event, our guests were not part of it, but the guests came in later, and we have 2 of those that are going to be signing. So they do have the ability. I know we had one last Friday during happy hour, kind of during that space between work and dinner. And people couldn't jump in because they were still at work. So you just play with that. But the cool thing is they got to look at it over the weekend. So you always have the ability for them to jump back in later, and they get to watch the lives and listen, and you can tag them. So I do think that there is goodness in that. I think that Zooms are awesome too, because you get to all see each other. So they're both excellent platforms. And just figuring out what works best for you is how it always is. If you know that you have maybe a new girl that has a really tight crew and they're great with jumping onto Zoom, Zooms are really fun whenever you've got the crew there with you. So I think you play back and forth, but share with us later. Like do one on Facebook over the next week or something. All those people that didn't get to be part of Zoom, go and do another one, and I'd love to hear how it goes. So that's awesome. Anybody else? All right, guys, I know so many of y'all have still, many of them scheduled for this week and next week. I cannot wait to see y'all, text with you, message you this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. Be ready for product launches. We saw that Diamonds got packages today. And they all have on little masks, guys. They look like super women and Superman. And so we're about to get some type of a powerhouse product, which is really exciting. So be ready for that. I would tell you to prepare yourself for convention. I don't know how many times Michelle Harrell and I sat beside each other at convention, like literally texting people in the midst of it saying, you got to be a part of this. Oh my gosh, I just thought about you. I want you to do this with me. Like you get so hyped up. So have your names, have a running list. I talk about having that 20 hot list. Have that hot list, but also have some people, maybe your chicken list, that you're like, I would love for them to do it, but I'm afraid to ask them to join me, because you're going to want to have those people. And then just be open and prayerful for the Lord to guide you to some people that you hadn't even thought about. But I promise you, there will be several times over the weekend that you are literally going to be dying to message a couple of people and tell them that they've got to do this with you. So be ready for that. And I can't wait to hear next week. We'll do a recap after convention, hear some thoughts from you guys, some success stories. And so I'm excited to be able to talk to all y'all. Thanks so much for being with us tonight, and we will see y'all soon. Bye.